How's it going, guys? Cody, guys, back again, dropping yet another video. Right, guys, story now in the London Evening Standard. I've spoken roughly around this before about like prisoners being released from prison homeless, and it's inevitable they're going to go back to crime. Now, I do feel like we are on the crest of a wave when it comes to prisons and the criminal justice system as a whole, because I feel like the tide is turning. And what I mean by that is, I think that people are actually standing up to take note now, the Ministry of Justice and people in power that are looking, thinking, prisons, the way that they've been run for decades, doesn't solve the problem. It probably makes the problem worse. And like I say, the media have taken note. We're not running headlines of cushy like butlins with bars anymore. No. Prisons are in the paper daily, guys. I've got about 12 vlogs to do. That's how popular the prison is. So anyway, the headline reads, inmates freed from London prison will get rent help to prevent crime and rough sleeping. Now, this is the basics, guys. Now, they're only talking initially of 200 men getting this. That is a drop in the ocean. Every prisoner that leaves prison, if they've not got a base to work up from, they're slipping through the cracks, they're going back to crime, or they're going back to addiction, or they've fallen into addiction because they're homeless. And then to feed that habit, they've got to commit crime, inevitably. And then they end up back in prison. And then everyone's like surprised and wonder why reoffending rates are through the roof. It's crazy. So the story reads, inmates freed from a London prison will have their rent deposits paid and housing benefits topped up in a new scheme to reduce the risks of homelessness and reoffending. Each of the nearly 200 eligible men from Pentonville prison will also be given support to help them find a job. The aim is to prevent them from becoming rough sleepers or returning to crime and to help them settle back into society. The scheme unveiled today by Justice Secretary David Gork and Housing Minister Heather Wheeler has been prompted by concerns about the number of former prisoners who reoffend after becoming homeless. Research has shown that those with stable accommodation are by contrast far less likely to commit new crimes. Mr Gork said the inmates freed from short sentences from Pentonville, Leeds and Bristol prisons will be given special support over 2 years. This would include finding accommodation, assisting with rent deposits and topping up housing benefit to help ex-offenders pay their rent. The scheme that could be extended will be part of the government's £100 million rough sleeping strategy announced in August. Now, the aim of that, guys, is apparently to reduce homelessness by 2027. Now, this is just the basics, guys. Now, I'm a thick, uneducated street kid, right? And I've spoken about people leaving prison homeless with nowhere to live, falling back into crime because I've seen the prisons minister, Rory Stewart, right? Says the right sort of things, but very critical, very cynical, as a former prisoner, of course. Now, he's going on, oh, well, when prisoners leave prison, they need to have jobs. Whoa, rewind. You can't have a job if you've got nowhere to live. Not everyone that leaves prison, guys, has got a 5-bedroom house or a 4-bedroom house, a missus and the kids. It doesn't go on. There's a lot of prisoners that leave prison homeless, go to prison with accommodation through racking up rent arrears because they're in prison and they've got no support network or family or a missus and kids. They become involved with, they incur rent arrears. They get evicted. They're then homeless when they leave prison. £46, homeless. Start taking drugs because they know they've got nowhere to go. Not all of them, but some do. Some fall into addictive tendencies and stuff. And then they leave prison with £46. They fall through the cracks straight back into a life of crime because they go and score drugs with a £46. Not all of them. Say they don't take drugs and they've got £46 to their name and they're on the streets, right? What's going to happen? They're going to have to steal to feed themselves, or they're going to have to steal to feed their habits. And that comes down to crime, reoffending, and then if you get caught, you end up back in prison. It's winter, guys. There's people out there now, homeless people, that will deliberately go out, get caught, so they can get sent to prison. Because they would rather be in prison, because homelessness is horrible. Prison's not that far much up from there, but at least you've got a roof over your head, 3 meals a day. So yeah, and like I say, you've still got drugs on tap in prison as well. The only people that seem to prosper in prison are those that have got nothing on the outside. If you're in prison and you've got a missus and kids and something to live for on the out, prison fucks with your head. It's as simple as that. I'm an ex-offender, guys. I've been out of prison 20 months now in, what, a few days? Oh, what was it? In 5 days, I've been out of prison 20 months. and I can't gain employment. No one will give me a job. I'm an ex-offender. So when you leave prison, you face adversity massively because you've got an ex-offender tag. You've been in prison. You go for jobs. You know what I mean? It's crazy, man. If you fill in a job application and don't ban the, like, there's your criminal convictions. If you don't disclose them and you get found out, you get sacked. If you do disclose them, you don't even get through the door for an interview. And again, it turns people back to crime. And if you've got nowhere to live upon leaving prison, or you are in rent arrears, right? If you go to prison currently, right, on remand, you can get housing benefit for up to 52 weeks, right? If you go to prison on a short sentence, if you get sentenced to anything less than 3 months, you can get housing benefit, sentence, convicted. Anything over, if you get like 3 months and 1 day, or like, I don't know, what is it? So 12, 13 weeks, right? You will not receive a penny. Right? And obviously a lot of people are serving longer stretches than that. Short sentences are like weeks and stuff is down to probably non-payment of council tax, non-payment of fines, little things like that. Do you know what I mean? Misdemeanors, so to speak. So yeah, you end up back in criminality. You go back to a life of crime. You have to commit crime. And reoffending rates are through the roof. So this is a good initiative, guys, but it's only for 200 men. Right? I'm not being funny. The prison populations fluctuates between 85,000 to 83,000. Every prisoner that leaves prison should be given somewhere to live. Because again, if you don't want to give them that step up, then it's going to cost you more in the long term through reoffending and through criminality and stuff and through the courts process and stuff than it is by actually giving them. If you give every prisoner housing and stuff, are they all going to survive and prosper? And no, absolutely not. But if you give, but at least give them that peg up, at least give them that opportunity, at least give them that level playing field where they can better themselves. Surely the aim of prison, guys, is to leave in a better position than when you entered, i.e. with skills, training, education, reintegration, resettlement, so you can actually break the cycle of crime. The reality, go to prison, lose your accommodation, become addicted to drugs, develop mental health issues, leave prison, and then just go back to crime, because the longer you're in prison, the more criminal connections you make and stuff like that, and leave homeless, or as an addict, or worse, in a body bag. And it's happening more and more and more. I mean, what do I don't know nothing about nothing. I'm not an expert on anything. I expect my own life. But the system's broken, man, and it's not going to change. 200 men, drop in the ocean. Needs to be extended. Every prisoner should receive that. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave that here. Let me know what you think. Comment, link in the description. Comments in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe. Cody out.